Black Dolphin Prison, Russia. What really happens in the world's harshest prison? The moment no one survives without changing forever. The camera fades in on a cold, wind-cutting Russian night. Snow is blowing sideways. A dark fortress stands in the middle of nowhere, no towns nearby, no roads with traffic, nothing but ice and silence. This is Black Dolphin Prison, the place Russian officers call the end of the line. Inside, a new inmate named Maxim Orlov walks with his head bent at a perfect 90-degree angle, not by choice but because this is the rule. Every prisoner must walk bent forward, hands behind their back, eyes on the ground. If they lift their head without permission, officers respond instantly. As Maxim takes his first steps through the metal hallway, two guards place their hands under his arms, lifting him slightly off the ground, the famous Black Dolphin carry. It prevents inmates from knowing the layout of the prison. They can't map escape routes. They can't identify blind spots. They can't even see which direction they're turning. The metal door slams behind him. The hallway echoes. Somewhere far inside the prison, a man screams. Another man laughs. A door bangs shut. And Maxim realizes. This place is built to break the human mind. The officers tell him one rule. Here, you will never see freedom again. Live accordingly. Cut to black. Then the narrator says, to understand Black Dolphin Prison, you must understand what happens when a country builds a place where even hope is locked away. Where the world's most dangerous men disappear. Black Dolphin Prison sits on the border between Russia and Kazakhstan, far away from cities, families, or anything that feels human. It houses over 700 of Russia's most dangerous criminals, serial killers, terrorists, cannibals, and violent offenders who are all serving life sentences with zero possibility of release. Every inmate here is considered too dangerous to mix with regular prison populations. Many have murdered multiple people. Some confessed. Some didn't. But all of them share one thing in common. Black Dolphin is their final address on Earth. Inside the compound, everything is designed with one purpose: complete control. The cells are tiny, steel-barred rooms where inmates spend 23 hours a day. Inside each cell are a metal bed bolted to the floor, a small table, the toilet, and a sink. But here's the twist. The bed is locked upright during the day. That means inmates cannot lie down, cannot rest, cannot nap. If they sit, they must sit straight. If they stand for hours. Guards check every 15 minutes to make sure each inmate is awake, alive, and following rules. And these guards aren't playing. Black Dolphin officers are handpicked, disciplined, trained, and emotionless while on duty. Their mission is simple. No escape. No surprises. No mistakes. Even talking between inmates is almost impossible. The walls are thick. The doors are layered. And each prisoner is isolated from others to prevent fights or planning. Here, silence is not just a rule. It's part of the punishment. When Maxim enters his cell for the first time, he touches the freezing metal. It feels like ice. The air smells like concrete and disinfectant. He hears nothing but distant footsteps. And for the first time, he understands the truth. At Black Dolphin, time doesn't pass. It traps you. The daily routine that breaks the human spirit. Morning at Black Dolphin starts the same every day, and has for decades. At 6 a.m., a loud siren blasts through the prison. The doors open one by one. Guards shout instructions. Inmates stand instantly, because hesitation equals punishment. Maxim stands still, hands behind his back. Two guards unlock his cell. He knows the drill already. No sudden movements. No questions. They carry him down the hallway again, his chin almost touching his chest. Every inmate gets a quick inspection, a walk through a strict route, and a few minutes of exercise inside a cage the size of a shipping container. Not a gym. Not a yard. A cage. The temperature outside can drop far below freezing. Inmates still get their mandatory exercise, because routine is more important than comfort. After exercise, Maxim is taken to the search room. Every single item in his cell is inspected every day. No exceptions. Officers check hidden corners, screws, even the page numbers of books. Then comes breakfast. Inmates never eat with others. Food is slid through a slot. It's usually porridge, bread, and sometimes fish. It's not a feast. It's just enough to survive. Hours pass with nothing but silence and standing. No phones. No TV. No internet. Books are allowed, but only from a small prison library. For many inmates, the only voices they hear for months are their own. Maxim sits at the small metal table, staring at a blank wall. His thoughts are loud. Too loud. Because inside Black Dolphin, the greatest punishment is not the guards, or the cold, or the isolation. It's the mind slowly turning against itself. The psychological warfare inside Black Dolphin. From the outside, Black Dolphin looks like a normal high-security facility. Thick walls, watchtowers, steel gates. But inside, the real battle is invisible. Maxim quickly learns that this prison wasn't built just to hold dangerous men. It was built to break them mentally. The rules are strict, but the silence is worse. Days feel like weeks. Weeks feel like months. Every inmate here is locked in a routine that never changes, no matter the weather, the season, or the year. There are no visits, no family hugs, no court hearings, no appeals. Inside Black Dolphin, your past is gone. Your future is erased. Only the present remains, and it is the same every single day. Some inmates talk to themselves just to hear a voice. Others tap their fingers on the table to keep track of time. A few count how many steps fit inside their cell. Maxim tries this one day. He walks from the door to the wall. 7 small steps. That's all. 7 steps forward. 7 steps back. Over and over. Until the walls start to feel like they're moving closer. The guards see everything. They check the peephole. They flash lights into the cells at night. They observe every inmate's breathing, movements, posture, and expression. If a prisoner looks depressed or aggressive, he's monitored even more closely. Black Dolphin is a place where you never get comfortable, not even for a second. The loudspeaker sometimes announces orders, but never comfort. The footsteps of officers echo through the halls, but never warmth. The cold air sticks to your skin but never fades. The worst part? There are no personal items from the outside world. No photos of loved ones. No letters. Nothing that connects these men to humanity. It's like the prison is saying, you no longer exist beyond these walls. For Maxim, the psychological pressure becomes stronger every day. The walls feel tighter. The silence grows louder. And the thought hits him hard. If this is forever, what happens to a person's mind? He closes his eyes. For a moment, he imagines being outside, the sound of cars, people talking, the smell of fresh air. But when he opens his eyes, he sees the same metal bars, the same cell, the same life, the same ending. In Black Dolphin, the mind is both your only friend and your biggest enemy. The officers, discipline, power, and zero emotion. Inside Black Dolphin, guards are not just workers. They are the system. Every movement, every sound, every step an inmate makes is controlled by them. These officers are hand-selected from across Russia. They undergo intense training, physical conditioning, and psychological screening. Only the ones who can stay calm under pressure, completely calm, are accepted. Because here, even a moment of weakness can turn deadly. When Maxim first arrived, he expected shouting, threats, and chaos, like what he'd heard about other prisons. But Black Dolphin officers don't yell unless necessary. They are cold, quiet, and controlled. Their command is absolute. When an inmate needs to move, 3 guards appear instantly. One holds the prisoner's arms. One walks behind, watching every movement. One leads the way, checking corners and intersections before anyone turns. It's like a military operation, for every single walk. There are no shortcuts. No relaxed days. No good behavior. Everyone is treated the exact same, from the most violent killer to someone who just snapped one day. This strict uniformity is what keeps the prison stable. Guards perform cell checks constantly. They look under the bed frame even though it's welded. They check the corners for hidden items. They inspect the bars, the bolts, the hinges. They check the inmates' hands, arms, and even their eyes for stress signals. Nothing goes unnoticed. And unlike many prisons around the world, corruption is almost impossible here. Because officers work in pairs or teams at all times, and every hallway is covered by cameras. A single mistake means a full investigation. No guard wants that. To Maxim, the officers feel less like humans and more like machines programmed to enforce order. They don't joke. They don't smile. They don't show mercy. But they also don't abuse prisoners physically without cause. Their power comes from discipline, not chaos. One day, during inspection, a guard asks Maxim, "Any issues?" His voice is flat, emotionless, not angry, not friendly. Maxim shakes his head. The guard nods and walks away. No connection, no warmth, just duty. It's then that Maxim realizes something chilling. The officers aren't trying to punish inmates. They are trying to erase them. Not physically, but mentally. The routine, the silence, the discipline, the control. It all works together to make inmates obey without thinking. To make them part of the structure. To break their spirit. To keep the prison perfectly calm. And it works. Because at Black Dolphin, even the guards understand. If control fails once, the entire system collapses. The cell that never sleeps. At Black Dolphin, the cell itself is part of the punishment. It's not just a room. It's a machine built to keep prisoners awake, alert, and mentally exhausted. Maxim learns this on his first week. The bed, a heavy metal frame bolted to the ground, stays locked in an upright position from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. During those 16 hours, you are not allowed to lie down. Not even for a second. If you try to rest your head on the table, a guard will knock on your door. If you sit for too long without moving, a guard will tap the window and order you to stand. There is no way to hide, no way to cheat, and no way to relax. The prison has rules for everything. No sleeping during the day. No lying on the floor. No leaning against the wall. No covering the face. No sitting on the toilet unless using it. No silence breaking unless spoken to. Every movement is watched. Every sound echoes. Every mistake is noticed. At night, when inmates are finally allowed to lie down, the lights remain on, bright enough that you can see the floor clearly. In some prisons, lights dim at night. But here, the lights stay strong to ensure guards can always observe through the peephole. Imagine trying to sleep like that. Bright lights, hard bed, footsteps, keys jingling, doors opening and closing in the distance. Sleep becomes a privilege, not a right. Maxim often wakes up thinking it's morning, only to discover he slept for just 20 minutes. Some nights he barely sleeps at all. And if he looks tired the next morning, the routine does not change. There is no sympathy, no adjustments. Just another long day standing, sitting straight, or staring at the same cold wall. Inside Black Dolphin, fatigue is not an accident. It's part of the design, a silent pressure that slowly wears inmates down from the inside. The cell has no colors, no softness, no decoration. Everything is gray concrete, metal bars, and cold air. Even the toilet is purposely placed in full view of the door so officers can see the entire cell at all times. Privacy doesn't exist. Comfort doesn't exist. The sense of being human begins to fade. Maxim starts noticing things he never noticed before. The slight buzz of the fluorescent light. The sound of guards' boots scraping the floor. The faint whistle of wind through the cracks. The metal ticking from the pipes in the wall. These small sounds become his entire world. Outside Black Dolphin, the world is alive. People laugh, cars honk, birds sing. But here, the environment is designed for one purpose: to make inmates feel like time has stopped. And for many, it truly does. The meals, the monotony, and the slow loss of humanity. Food inside Black Dolphin Prison is not meant to be enjoyed. It is meant to keep you alive, nothing more. Every meal is delivered through a metal slot in the door. No conversations. No choices. No dining hall. Just a stainless steel bowl sliding across a cold surface. For breakfast, Maxim usually receives watery porridge, a small slice of bread, and weak tea. Lunch is slightly heavier, often a thin soup with cabbage or potatoes, sometimes fish that smells like the nearby river. Dinner is nearly identical to breakfast. There are no snacks, no fruit, no sugar, no comfort foods. Just enough calories to fuel the routine. The meals are repetitive, always the same, day after day, year after year. At first, Maxim forces himself to eat, even when the taste is awful. After a while, he stops noticing the flavor at all. Food becomes mechanical, a task, not a pleasure. And this is exactly the point. A human loses something important when meals stop feeling like meals. When survival becomes routine. When taste no longer matters. Every day feels identical. The same bowl. The same spoon. The same smell. The same loneliness. There are no voices around him. No laughter. No conversations about the outside world. Just silence and chewing. It's here, during these cold and quiet meals, that Maxim understands how Black Dolphin slowly removes a piece of your humanity without you even noticing. The brain begins to shut down certain emotions. Hunger no longer feels urgent. Time no longer feels real. Even memories begin to fade. One afternoon, while eating, he tries to remember the exact sound of his mother's voice. He can't. He tries to remember the warmth of holding someone's hand. He can't. He tries to remember what sunlight feels like on his skin. That, too, is slipping away. Because inside Black Dolphin, inmates live in a world without touch, without color, without warmth, and without choice. A world where human needs are reduced to their lowest level. Obey. Survive. Sometimes, during meal delivery, Maxim catches a quick glimpse of another inmate across the hallway. A man with hollow eyes, pale skin, and a blank expression. Someone who looks alive, but not living. That's when Maxim feels the fear that every inmate eventually faces. If I stay here long enough, will I look like that too? He looks down at the spoon in his hand. It shakes slightly. This place is not killing him physically. It is draining him slowly, quietly, and completely. One meal at a time. One day at a time. One piece of humanity at a time. The exercise cage, the only time prisoners see the sky. In most prisons around the world, inmates complain about the yard, too small, too crowded, too boring. But at Black Dolphin, the yard is something entirely different. It is a steel cage, not much larger than a shipping container. No grass. No trees. No open space to run. Just concrete floors and metal bars overhead. For many inmates, this cage is the only place they ever see the sky. Every morning, Maxim is escorted there, hands behind his back, head down, carried by 2 guards. He is not allowed to walk freely. He is guided like cargo, not a person. When he enters the cage, the door slams behind him with a cold echo. The guards stand outside, watching from all angles. Every movement is monitored. There are no weights, no equipment, no basketball courts. Just the prisoner, the bars, and the weather. In summer, the cage turns into a furnace. In winter, the cold cuts through clothing like a knife. And yet, inmates come here every single day because the routine demands it. Maxim lifts his head to the sky. It's the only time each day he's allowed to look up. Some days he sees clouds drifting slowly. Other days he sees the sun, a distant, cold light that feels almost unfamiliar. But most days, the sky is gray, heavy, and silent. He walks in circles because there's nothing else to do. Sometimes he stretches, sometimes he squats, but mostly he just moves because it feels like the only way to stay alive inside this place. For 30 minutes, this cage becomes his entire world. A world with no sounds except the wind, the clanging of metal, and distant boots marching in formation. Sometimes he imagines he's somewhere else. A park, a street, a normal life. But the moment he stops walking, a guard shouts, "Continue exercise." There is no room for daydreaming. No room for escape. Even mentally. One morning, snow begins to fall, drifting slowly through the open roof of the cage. The flakes land on Maxim's hands and melt instantly. That small moment, tiny pieces of frozen sky touching his skin. is the closest thing to freedom he's felt in months. But like everything inside Black Dolphin, the moment is short. The guards unlock the door. Time is up. Maxim lowers his head and is immediately carried back to his cell. The sky disappears again. The cold air fades. And the cage returns to being just a memory. One of the only moments that still feels human. As he returns to the silence of his cell, he thinks, this prison doesn't just control your body. It controls the only time you're allowed to feel alive. The medical wing, where pain meets discipline. Every prison has a medical unit. But at Black Dolphin, the medical wing isn't a place of comfort. It's another layer of control. Inmates don't walk here by request. They are summoned. A guard decides. A schedule decides. The prison decides. Not the prisoner. One cold morning, Maxim is told he's going to the medical wing for a routine check. His stomach tightens instantly, because here, even routine feels dangerous. As always, he's escorted by 3 officers. One lifting him by the arms, one walking behind him, one clearing every corner before they enter. The hallways are silent, except for boots striking the floor in perfect rhythm. When they reach the medical room, the door opens with a loud metallic scrape. The smell of disinfectant hits him immediately, sharp, sterile, unfriendly. The room is clean but cold. Very cold. It almost feels intentional. The doctor doesn't smile. He doesn't make small talk. He doesn't ask about feelings or comfort. He simply begins. Blood pressure. Pulse. Eyes. X-rays if needed. Medication if required. Everything is efficient. Precise. There is no humanity in the process, just procedure. If an inmate needs medication, it's monitored strictly. Nothing is given casually. Nothing is taken without supervision. Maxim sits on the metal chair, hands behind his back, while the doctor checks his vitals. The door stays open the entire time. 2 guards watch him from only a few feet away. Even here, in a place meant for healing, there is no privacy, no comfort, no softness. The doctor finishes and nods. Healthy. Continue routine. That's it. No advice. No encouragement. Just a statement. Because health inside Black Dolphin has one purpose. Keeping inmates alive long enough to serve every day of their life sentence. While leaving the medical wing, Maxim passes by a hallway with a single reinforced door. Inside are inmates who have broken down mentally, men who couldn't handle the pressure, the isolation, or the silence. Some pace nonstop. Some stare into nothing. Some whisper to themselves. These are the inmates whose minds didn't survive Black Dolphin's system. They didn't break the rules. The prison broke them. A guard notices Maxim looking and immediately turns him away. You don't need to see that. But he already saw enough. He saw what happens when the human mind loses its fight. As he is escorted back to his cell, the cold hallway feels different this time. Like it's warning him, stay focused, stay silent, stay alive. Because at Black Dolphin, even the medical wing reminds you, pain is temporary, but this prison is forever. The other inmates, ghosts you never truly meet. Inside most prisons, inmates form cliques, alliances, enemies, and friendships. But at Black Dolphin, none of that exists. This place is built to make inmates invisible to each other. In most sections, prisoners never see one another's faces. Doors open one at a time. Hallways are cleared before anyone moves. Exercise cages are separated. Cells are isolated. Even the sound of another inmate breathing is rare. But over time, Maxim begins to learn about the men locked inside the cells around him, not from meeting them, but from the echoes of their past. A guard once said something Maxim will never forget. Everyone in here has taken a life. Many have taken more than one. Some took entire families. These are not petty criminals. These are men who committed acts so severe that Russia declared them unfit for society forever. One inmate on Maxim's block is known for being silent for years. They say he once confessed to killing more than 50 people. But no one knows his real name. The guards call him the Quiet One. Another prisoner, down the hall, sometimes screams at night, not out of anger, but as if reliving something he cannot escape. Some say he was involved in organized crime. Others whisper he was once part of a violent extremist group. There is also the old man, a frail prisoner who walks slower than the rest. A guard once mentioned he had been inside Black Dolphin since the 1990s. He has spent more time in a cell than he ever spent free in the outside world. But the strangest part? None of these inmates know each other. They are like shadows living parallel lives, breathing the same air, but never interacting. When Maxim is moved for shower time, a process that happens only twice a week, he hears distant footsteps from a different hallway. For a moment he wonders, is that another inmate? Or just another guard? He can't tell. The system is so perfect, so strict, that even recognizing another prisoner is nearly impossible. And this isolation does something unusual to the mind. You start to imagine the people around you, what they look like, how they walk, how they speak, whether they regret what they did, whether they've accepted their fate. Some inmates imagine neighbors that don't exist. Some imagine voices. Some imagine entire conversations that never happened. Because when you haven't seen another human face in weeks, the mind creates its own people. Maxim once hears a deep voice whisper through the vents. Still alive. He freezes. Was it real? Was it his imagination? Did someone truly speak? Or was it the building shifting again? At Black Dolphin you never know. The prisoners around you are ghosts. Present but unreachable. Alive but unseen. Dangerous but invisible. And the scariest part? You could live 30 years in Black Dolphin and never see another inmate's face. The showers, the searches, and the loss of privacy. In many prisons, shower time is a break, a chance to breathe, relax, talk, or cool down. But at Black Dolphin, the showers are just another part of the machine. Another moment where prisoners are reminded that they have no control over their lives, bodies, or privacy. Showers happen twice a week, no exceptions. Not 3 times. Not once. Exactly twice. And they happen on the prison schedule, never the inmates. When Maxim's turn arrives, the routine starts like always. 2 guards appear at his cell door. They instruct him to stand, hands behind his back, head down. He is escorted, lifted, carried, controlled, like all inmates are. Every hallway is cleared. Every door along the path is locked. No other prisoner is allowed to move within the same time frame. Black Dolphin eliminates even the smallest chance of inmates meeting. When they reach the shower room, the procedure becomes even more intense. First comes the full-body search. Not a quick pat-down. A full inspection. Every seam of the clothing. Guards check everything because even something as small as a paper clip is a threat inside this place. Only after the search is Maxim allowed into the shower, a small tiled room with a single drain and a showerhead fixed high on the wall. The water runs for a strict amount of time. Not long enough for comfort, just long enough to wash. And during the entire shower, 2 guards stand outside the open door watching. There are no curtains, no privacy, no dignity. For inmates, this becomes normal. Being observed, being monitored, being exposed. When the water shuts off, Maxim steps out. He is immediately ordered to face the wall while guards check the room again. Not because they expect anything, but because routine must never break. Even after years inside, inmates follow the same exact steps, timed to perfection. The same searches, the same commands, the same silence. As Maxim is escorted back to his cell, he begins to understand something deeper. Black Dolphin isn't just designed to control prisoners. It's designed to strip away every part of normal life, every small moment where a person might feel human, private, or free. Here, you don't own your body. You don't own your time. You don't own your choices. You don't own your silence. Everything belongs to the prison. By the time Maxim is locked back inside his cell, the world outside the bars feels like a fading dream, something he remembers happened to someone else. Because inside Black Dolphin, even the simplest human experiences, bathing, stretching, sitting, sleeping, are transformed into weapons of control. And slowly, day by day, chapter by chapter of his life. Maxim feels the person he used to be slipping away. The interrogation rooms, where the mind is tested again. Black Dolphin is not a place where inmates are routinely questioned or interrogated like in movies. But when they are summoned to the interrogation wing, every prisoner knows one thing. Something serious is happening. Could be a review of their behavior, an investigation inside the prison, or simply a psychological evaluation to make sure they are still functional. For Maxim, the first time he's summoned feels like a cold punch to the stomach. 2 guards appear at his cell door without warning. Prepare for movement. He stands instantly, hands behind his back, head down. No hesitation. He knows the rules. As he is escorted down unfamiliar hallways, he realizes he's being taken deeper into the prison, to an area he has never seen, not even glimpsed. The air feels colder here, the walls thicker, the silence heavier. Finally, they stop at a steel door with a small, square window. A guard unlocks it. Inside sits a table bolted to the floor, 2 chairs, and nothing else. No posters. No clocks. No distractions. Just emptiness. The officer waiting for him is calm, emotionless, and professional. Not a torturer. Not a bully. Just a man with a job. Maxim is seated. A guard stands behind him in silence. The officer opens a file and begins asking questions in a flat voice. Any health issues? Any conflicts? Any changes in your behavior? Any thoughts of harming yourself? Any thoughts of harming others? Every answer is written down. Not judged. Not reacted to. Just recorded. This isn't an interrogation in the classic sense. It's a psychological checkpoint, designed to measure how well the prison is working. Black Dolphin doesn't want inmates to escape, but it also doesn't want them dying. A dead inmate is a red flag. A failure. A weakness in the system. So the officers ask questions to make sure the mind is cracking only in controlled ways. Not dangerously, not unpredictably. As Maxim answers, he notices something unsettling. The officer's eyes are not looking at him. They are studying him. Every movement, every pause, every change in breathing. When Maxim hesitates on one question, the officer leans forward slightly. You are adjusting to the routine? Maxim nods. The officer writes something down. A single nod in the wrong moment can shape the next year of his life. The questioning continues for nearly an hour. Not heated. Not loud. Just slow and heavy. When it ends, the officer closes the file and gives a simple instruction. Continue routine. No goodbye. No emotion. No explanation. The guards lift Maxim again and escort him back through the maze-like hallways. When he finally returns to his cell, he sits at his metal table and stares at the wall, trying to understand what just happened. And he realizes something chilling. The interrogation wasn't about answers. It was about checking whether he is braking at the right speed, not too fast, not too slow. Because the prison doesn't want chaos. It doesn't want rebellion. And it definitely doesn't want hope. It wants stability, order, silence. Black Dolphin is a perfect machine. And the interrogation room is one of the tools that keeps the machine running. As the door locks behind him again, Maxim takes a long breath. He's still alive. Still functioning. Still part of the system. But for how long? Inside this prison, time isn't just passing. It is carving away everything he once was. A place where time stops, but punishment never does. The camera slowly rises above the icy walls of Black Dolphin Prison, showing a fortress that stands alone in a frozen wasteland, silent, cold, and unchanging. Inside those walls, Maxim returns to his small metal bed as the lights stay bright above him. Another day begins. Another day ends. But they all feel the same. Because Black Dolphin is not just a prison, it is a system designed to erase everything that makes a person human. Here, inmates walk with their heads bent. They sleep under nonstop lights. They live on repetitive meals. They never meet each other's eyes. They survive inside boxes where hope cannot grow, where memories fade, and where silence becomes its own language. Every hallway, every rule, every routine serves one purpose: total control. The guards aren't cruel for pleasure, they are disciplined for survival. The routines aren't harsh by accident, they are engineered to prevent chaos. And the isolation isn't random, it is calculated to break the mind just enough to keep the prison stable. This is why Black Dolphin is known worldwide as one of the harshest prisons on Earth. It's a place where the sky is seen through a cage, showers come with 2 guards standing over you, medical checkups feel like interrogations, and freedom is a word that loses meaning over time. Some inmates lose themselves completely. Some survive only by shutting down their emotions. Others, like Maxim, hold on to a tiny thread of identity, hoping they don't disappear inside the silence. Because in Black Dolphin, punishment is not loud. It's not violent. It's not dramatic. It's slow. It's quiet. It's endless. And the world outside moves on, while the men inside remain frozen in time, serving life sentences one emotionless day at a time. The narrator's voice softens. Black Dolphin isn't a story about escape. It's a story about a place where escape was never meant to exist. The camera fades out on the prison's front gate, the massive metal structure shaped like a black dolphin, the symbol of the institution. Snow falls silently. Wind whistles through the cracks. And deep inside, Maxim stares at the wall of his cell, knowing that tomorrow will be exactly the same. Because in the world's harshest prison, freedom doesn't end at the door, it ends at the mind.